taking the time out of your day to tune in with yourself. My intention with this particular video is to bring you into full connection with aftercare and integration. Specifically in the time that we're in is looking at the Lion's Gate portal, as it is being called, which we'll talk about a little bit. But ultimately, if you have found your way to this video, it is for you at exactly the right time. So I believe that you are here for a reason already. The aftercare and integration, when we go through big breakthroughs or we have a lot of energy that moves out of our field very quickly, sometimes it might even take a little bit, kind of shift some time. Realization, if you have a really big realization and you want to ground that in, ground it in. If you have something else that takes place, that happens in your world, that pops open, and all of a sudden you're left feeling a little bit discombobulated or confused. For me, it shows up. I have a really hard time getting dressed. It sounds so funny, but when I'm in the middle of a big growth period or a big energy shift or transition, I find it really hard to sort out what I want to wear. There's all sorts of different ways, obviously, that it can show up for a lot of different people. But ultimately, what I want to bring here for you today is the opportunity to create spaciousness in your awareness, to create spaciousness in your field, to give yourself just that breath of fresh air, to breathe deeply, to allow this shift in energy to move through you with as much gentle ease and grace as possible. When we stack growth on top of growth on top of growth on top of growth on top of growth without rest and rejuvenation, it really will actually start to unwind and slow down the progress. It's the necessary space we need to really integrate those concepts, really integrate what has taken place, so that you're actually adding to the foundation and basis of who it is that you already know that you are and who it is that you are becoming, that allows that movement to flow through you very easily. So with that, my sweet friend, let's go ahead and open space. And if you're on the mailing list, you will have gotten a list of questions, some journal prompts to get you in the space, to get you feeling into it, to help you to start anchoring what we're going to be doing here. Excuse me. And that anchoring into what it is that we're doing here is going to start a new cyclone. It's going to start a new cycle of creation, of beauty, of newness, of light energy moving through your body. So when we let go of the things that we'll say no longer serve us, or I had a cranial sacral session yesterday with a dear friend of mine, that we released so much energy from my physical body and from my energetic and emotional being, that there's so much space now. So it's, what do you do with that space? Well, the aftercare and integration is making sure that we are taking conscious steps forward to make sure that we are filling those spaces in with what we are consciously choosing for ourselves. So we want to pay attention to the newness. We want to pay attention to the embodiment. So we can talk about concepts or behavior patterns, but what I'm going to really specifically speak to is vibrational patterns and frequencies. Our thought patterns are frequency. Energetic imprints are frequency. Yay, I'm happy to see the fam's all here. So these things, these parts, these imprints, these cycles that run a lot of the time subconsciously. The thing is that even when they're subconscious, generally there's a portion of our awareness, our egoic mind, that knows something's either off or something's about to break, or there's a pattern that needs to change. There's a little bit of discomfort. There's a little bit of like needing to wiggle and kind of move through whatever it is. A lot of times, especially if people are unconscious, they'll respond with anger, they'll respond with aggression, they'll respond with drinking or numbing or not wanting to actually make the change. And that's when we get stagnant. But the thing is that we as humans came here to grow. We came here to evolve. We came here to learn about ourselves inside of our physical form. We came here to learn how this experience works, how juicy it is, how loving it is, how exciting it is, how opening and creative it is. We as human beings we are the entire universe encapsulated in one human form, every single one. And that's the thing, is that we have simply forgotten. So my intention here is to wake up and remind, just put the alarm on the sleeping lions. So I believe that if you're here and you have tuned into this video, that there is a part of you that is really, really, really ready for new information, that is ready to see a new part of yourself, that is ready to actually finally take that last step out of the habits or traits or behaviors or whatever it is that you recognize they're lowering your frequency. And if they're lowering your frequency, they're holding you back. One behavior, let's say it's eating processed foods or candies or sugar, something like that, that you is not good for your physical body. We know this at this point. So if you know this and you're continuing to choose to do it, the likelihood of this being a deeper subconscious thing is extremely high. So then we want to look at, why is it that what is in alignment is not you choosing what is best for yourself, but it is continuing to choose something that is actually not in full alignment with your highest path of vibrational ascension or frequency. And when I'm speaking to this vibrational ascension and frequency, what I am meaning is a higher state of conscious presence. Meaning your egoic mind becomes even more acutely attuned into the higher realms of conscious understanding. It's much easier for your mind to be there when your body is also feeling really good. So it isn't enough to just sit in meditation 4 to 5 hours a day and not take care of your physical body. It's also very important to know that there's a balance in taking care of your physical body when you are doing and focusing on a lot of spirit work, because it's actually what helps the aftercare and integration move through. It's really important to keep these channels flowing and fluid and just alive. That stagnancy is when things start to get a little bit stuck and we can't see ourselves so clearly. So, with this, I want to speak to some of the new age hype that's out there. It's really fun to step onto the spiritual path. It's become, almost like trendy, which I am pro positive trends. Think green, recycling, reduce, reuse, and recycle. If we can make this a super positive trend, great. I'm all about positive trends. If people are getting into spirituality because they want to know themselves and they want to see themselves clearly, then we say yes to this. But if somebody is adopting the spiritual style and the spiritual vocabulary, and it becomes a facade that actually doesn't hold clout to the depth that they are talking to, let's say that, it's not enough to learn the vocabulary. And this is what I am paying attention to with the 8-8 portal or the 7-7 portal. I know that numerology is an important practice for many. It's not necessarily something that I subscribe to as the end-all be-all. It's not something I have dabbled in it, and it's not something that's really landed for me. And so the Gregorian calendar, like Tuesday doesn't even really exist. Wednesday doesn't even really exist. These are systems of measurement that humans have created on this planet, which is important so that we know when to meet with each other and we know when to be here on YouTube and we know like these particular meeting points, right? But at the same time, the idea of an 8-8 Lionsgate portal, when and where were these things created and who's creating them? When we talk about portals, this is so important to understand, because when you start tapping into spirituality and you want to be channeling and you want to be opening yourself into higher realms of consciousness, it is so critically important that you know what you're doing. I cannot impress this enough. It is so critically important. And I'll speak to you and tell you why I'm getting so serious with you guys right now. There are an extraordinary amount of distortions. And it's the same when people ask me about spirits, like, well, what are spirits like? Well, they're like people. They have personalities, they have traits. Some are tricksters, some are in full purity and full honest, full integrity. They are here to support us. They are here to love us. They are here to divinely guide us. They are here to give us a bird's eye view. They are here to love us. They are here to share new information with us that's going to help the ascension of this planet. There's an incredible amount of support that comes from higher dimensions of consciousness. And higher dimensions of consciousness are simply vibrational frequencies. And this is why I speak to vibrational frequencies. When we start to understand more about vibration and how energy works, energy is frequency. Energy is vibration. So sometimes these words can be used interchangeably. Okay, so there's no problem there with that. But when we start talking about portals and we start talking about channeling and we start talking about opening, it's how do you practice a discernment of what is your thought and what is a message or an insight from a guide or a being of higher consciousness. And if that channel is open for you, do you know who it is that you are speaking with? And do you have an internal mechanism, an internal system set up that allows you to understand more clearly how to practice that discernment? This is the same with news. This is the same with gossip. This is the same with anything anybody tells you. It's like this. Do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's take gossip, for example, because I think this is an easy analogy. Gossiping gets a bad rap, and rightfully so. There are some things that happen when you are talking about other people with other people that can be orchestrated or set with the intention to create or cause harm for somebody that is not there. Now, if you're talking about a personal experience that you have had with somebody, let's say, for instance, a woman has an experience with a man where he came on to her inappropriately so, crossed her boundaries, did not honor them, and then blamed her for it. If that woman keeps quiet, which is most often the case, other women are not going to know that this particular person is a predator. And I'm using this as an example because it's a very, very obvious one. Or if there are people that are con artists, or there are people that scam other people, or there are people that don't care about what goes on with others. These are things that when we are talking about gossiping are also by means of community protection. So when we're also talking about the news, or when we're talking about connecting with these higher vibrational realms of consciousness, what is important is knowing the intention of, one, your heart center. and being rigorously honest with yourself. I do not recommend to start channeling because you think it's cool, or because you think it's a trick, or because you think that your egoic consciousness is going to get external validation from it. These are not things to mess around with. These are not things to play with. Without somebody who is experienced in these worlds and in these realms that is able and capable of helping. And even then, you want to practice discernment with the people that you are practicing with. If there's anything about it that feels off, check in with yourself, because it's one of two things. That something's off and that you're right, or that there's something inside of you that is about to be released, that is about to be seen, that is about to be busted. Let's say it's a parasitic energy, sometimes referred to as an entity. It's something outside of you that is going to get busted, or it's a behavior pattern, or it's a belief system, or it's something that is about to get busted, and that particular person is actually going to help you move through it. So how do you discern? Every single thing that I'm sharing with you here comes back to being able to trust your own gut and your own intuition. So let's bring it back to the gossip example. Let's say this woman is saying that this man came on to her and then overcrossed her boundaries and gave her, she had a terrible experience with him. But let's say in reality, what took place was that this man was not interested in her, and so she felt rejected. And so her way of handling that pain was to turn around and create a scenario with this particular person that would drag his name through the mud and make him look like a bad person, because she felt rejected and wasn't willing to sit with those emotions and move forward and move through them in a mature and balanced way. Now, in both scenarios, let's say the story is going to be exactly the same. How do you know what to believe and what not to believe? It comes down to trusting your intuition. Same with news stories. It comes down to trusting your intuition. Do not allow yourself to be gullible. Do not allow yourself to be tricked. The reason that these tricks happen is because of vulnerabilities of not believing in yourself and not trusting yourself. And our entire system is designed to bring you out of clear, confident connection of who you are. We do not learn this in school. This is not supported. This is not encouraged. It is not encouraged in communities like they say it is, but it's not. It's a facade. The inner workings of how we learn to trust our intuition is not by blindly following the directions of authority. It is by learning how to tune into the inner authority within ourselves. And that inner authority within ourselves is what is going to be the portal that we need. We don't need an 8/8 portal. We don't even need a new moon, and we don't even need a full moon. You can do it on an average Tuesday. And what's a Tuesday anyway? It's another day that is measured in a 7-day cycle. Like, these things are not the things that matter. The measurements are not the things that matter. It's your vibrational capacity. It's your vibrational frequency. It's your vibrational intention. It's your vibrational connection. It's your vibrational just integrity. Vibrational integrity has to be my favorite combination of words, because it is, there's no gaps. There's no room for any sort of misnomer. There's no room for any of that. Vibrational integrity means your words, your actions, and your behaviors are all in one line, which means you have already developed emotional intelligence. When you develop emotional intelligence, which is a course that I have led that I felt was very important, and let me tell you, when I sent it to certain men, they got very triggered, wondering why I had sent them the sample of the meditation when I was sending a gift. Ha ha ha, that's just a little aside. I think it's funny. Emotional intelligence is the gateway. Emotional intelligence is the gateway to your intuitive understanding and intuitive connection. Emotional intelligence is understanding with rigorous self-honesty the motives behind each and every single one of your actions. Feel into that one for a second. Emotional intelligence, through rigorous self-honesty, is understanding the deeper underlying intention to all of your behaviors and actions. It's the difference between someone who's done the work to get to know themselves and somebody who hasn't. You can do this on the spiritual path, or you can do this doing yoga, you can do this at the gym, you can do this taking nature walks. It can look completely different for every single person. And just because somebody looks apart does not mean that they have filled in the foundation of their own internal world. And I'm going to tell you how to identify people who have done that internal work. It's very simple, and it's always a dead giveaway. You feel it. You feel the depth inside of them to a point where it is almost intimidating. And the way that you are able to feel this is because you recognize and feel the depth inside of yourself. Internal depth is cultivated through rigorous self-honesty and blatant understanding and care for self and others. It's the connection within that leaves no space between you and you, which means victimhood has dissolved, blaming has dissolved. The space inside of you that is cultivating depth is, in and of itself, vibrational integrity. Thank you for those who are agreeing and sharing that in the comments. It's nice to feel that engagement and support and connection. And the beautiful thing about this is when you have met yourself in this way, you cannot be fooled. And not only can you not be fooled, those experiences just aren't even magnetized into your field. They are. And let me tell you, even as a top-rated US psychic, I have, we'll say, been fooled. I have believed lies. I have had blind spots. I had one really significant one in LA before I came here to Bali. And it shook me. It absolutely shook me to my core. It was, how did I not see that? But the thing was that I did see it, and I was gaslit. I wanted to believe the betterment of what somebody was saying to me. And things in my life were moving so fast, I didn't give myself the spaciousness to integrate and pause with a lot of, we'll say, like mid-level trauma things that had happened. They happened, and then I was able to just keep going and just keep going and just keep going. But I never really dealt with those, and I just kept going. And so what happened was it created a blind spot. It created a part out of my periphery that was magnetizing these circumstances so that I could receive the lessons that I needed to receive, which for me had to do with standing powerfully in my own truth, standing powerfully in my own resolve, standing powerfully on my own 2 feet and saying, I've got this, I've got me. You are your savior. You are the person that is coming to your rescue. You are the one that you have been waiting for. All of these parts of you that exist in the higher level experiences of your own true divine being, the openness of your own vibrational generosity. How generous can you be with receiving source frequency, source consciousness, source love? Be honest with yourselves right now and just see a number 1 to 10. How able are you, or how much source love can you receive right now? And just see the first number that pops up. By the end of this, his goal is to bring it all the way to 10, maybe even 15. To see those spaces inside of yourself. And I'm sure with this conversation, I'm triggering all sorts of areas where you're going, ooh, okay, ooh, okay, ooh, okay. Good, 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 good. Bring them to the surface. Bring them to the surface. Before we go into the transmission, I would love to ask for a couple questions. If any of you have questions for topics that have come up or anything that you feel that you are working on or working through, whatever it is that comes to mind. I feel 2 questions in the field specifically. So go ahead and type those into the chat. Let's do a little bit more live interaction before we go deep, because I feel like we've kind of stirred the pot a little bit. There's a movement happening, and we want to go a little bit deeper. Let's like really make the most out of this time that we have here. You know what I mean? Let's go into it. Let's massage some of these parts. Please don't be shy. If you feel that part bubbling up and you know that it's you, please feel free to type that into the question bar. I won't even say your name, and we'll just sail through this. But go ahead and feel into what that is for you. Or we'll just go ahead and sit in this space while we move some energy through, either way. All right. Let's go ahead and take a couple nice, big, deep breaths. Oh yes, control and victimhood. Let's go ahead and say hello to that. Control is one of those things. It's an early childhood wound. Often comes from not feeling that you had any say in what was going on in your world, in your life. That like an overbearing parent, and that's why it gets passed down so easily. Overbearing parent to overbearing parent to overbearing parent doesn't give the child the spaciousness that they need to be able to sort through what works for them and what doesn't. So what happens is actually like an anxiousness, a hypervigilant nervous system of not being able to trust oneself. Because if the control is so clear and so like lined up, and that's why the control and victimhood go hand in hand as well, because the victimhood is, well, I didn't make the decision for myself, it was them. It goes hand in hand. It's one of those things that gets really tricky when we go, like if you were to look in the psychology DSM for, we'll say, behavioral disorders, which I think so many more of us have them than we're willing to admit, because it has this like bad stigma. But the thing is that these personality behavior traits are learned. they are learned in the family nucleus home. And a lot of times they're learned by means of survival. So if parents have these traits, the likelihood of the child having these traits is really high. So if you have a parent that is constantly, let's say, blaming the system or blaming something else or blaming this or blaming that, chances of them being very controlling are also very high because they didn't have the control of their choices before. And so if they didn't have the control of their choices before, again, it's easy to blame. So as you're hearing this, just go ahead and like activate those memories, activate the patterns that you're seeing. Let's bring some of those blind spots to the forefront. Right now, we're just bringing stuff to the surface. Let it come up to the surface. Let yourself be seen in that. Iggy, I saw that you had posted something there too. And Miss Kat, if you could copy and repaste so I could read back through that, I would really appreciate it. The holding yourself back and stepping up, that also comes from, well, I don't want to say also, but their childhood patterns. So the holding oneself back is a doubt and self-belief that you are capable of it, or fear that you're afraid of what's going to happen when it does, which means you're afraid of the success. You're afraid of the expansion. You're afraid of being held at a higher level of responsibility. That one was huge for me. When I launched my Earth Angels program, I went from charging $1,800 per 3-month program to a $25,000 year-long mastermind course. The jump that my energetic field had to shift through and the jump that my just overall awareness had to go through to be able to see the value in that. But this was the thing. The biggest fear that I had underlying those things of that period of expansion was I was afraid, and I'm kind of feeling into this one a little bit now too, is that I was afraid that the capacity of my heart was not going to be capable of holding the depth of those intimate relationships. And I say intimate, not sexually intimate, but when there's a depth in you can have an extremely intimate relationship with somebody and never sleep with them, never exchange sexual energy. But the depth of the intimacy of knowing somebody, I was afraid that my heart was not going to be able to expand to hold that for 8 people. Because when I'm working with my clients in that way, these people know me more than my family members know me. And I know them more than their family members know them. It's an extremely deep sensation. So I'm sharing this as the mirror that holding back was a fear of the expansion. It was a fear of what was going to take place on the other side. Okay, so releasing, energetically altering. Goodness. Kat, I missed it again. I'm just going to tune into it vibrationally and respond. We'll tie these 3 concepts together. And again, I'm rambling a little bit, but the intention behind the rambling to get stuff moving is so that we can all set that intention to pull the blind spot to the forefront. Pull what is going on back here. It's like it's behind the periphery. It's in the subconscious. Pull it up to the front. Give yourself a spin. Turn your aura around. Just cycle it through a couple times. Bring it out to the front. Give yourself the absolute permission to receive as much out of this experience right now as you possibly can. Open, surrender, and know that you are here receiving from you. You are here receiving from your higher self. You are here listening and tuning in to this either live or on the recording, but you are there holding your own space. This is why I really like doing sort of virtual stuff, is that you are holding space for yourself right now. So give yourself that permission to open fully, to unpack the bags, see what's in it, and take advantage of the space that we're in today. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and start to shift into that transmission space. I'm seeing a big, clear opportunity here for all of us to take a moment to forgive ourselves for embodying in the family that we chose. And I do say the family that we chose. I have very clear memories of being a spirit being and jumping into my body, we'll say, at the moment of conception. I have very, very clear memories of volunteering to be on this planet at this time. I've also accessed very, very clear memories of my mother and myself sitting out in the cosmos. She was about to take her moment of conception. She was about to come back down into this earthly plane. And she and I both knew that she had agreed to be my mother in this world and play the role that she has played for me. And so I personally 100% believe that we choose the experiences that we are coming into. And I also believe that some of us here on the call, you are an embodied lion, you are an embodied dragon, you are an embodied earth angel, you are an embodied higher vibrational being. There is a huge, 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 huge openness right now on this planet for light workers, and this includes beings from all different galaxies, all different planets, all different places, all different star families that have come here with the intention to help increase the vibrational planet of Earth, the vibrational frequency of Earth. I don't know if you guys, there was a video that was going around a while ago, and it was actually listening to the vibrational frequency of each of the planets, all of the planets. And when you listen to all the planets, some of them have like just powerful tones. For me, it was similar to like listening to whale songs, where it brings you into another world and it opens your mind, and it like, you listening to them in meditation or whatever, it like expands the field of awareness of what you're capable of seeing with your eyes closed. And it was so clear to me that hearing the vibrational resonance of Earth, it was off. It was like there was something that was like, ooh, like what's happening here? Whereas the other ones was almost like melodical or music. There was like almost trance-like, you could feel into it and expand. And there was like a scratchiness to the frequency that was heard here. And I'm not talking about the Schumann resonance. But my point being is that we are here, and I say we because I believe that you are here watching this video and tuning into this transmission because you're ready to hear these things and have another reminder that you are here to activate and embody joy. You are here to activate and embody your highest vibrational, like emotional expression. That is your natural state. Your natural state of being. And this is why it hurts so bad when you're depressed. And this is why it hurts so much more than it hurts other people that aren't as deeply feeling, that aren't as deeply tuned in, that aren't able to touch a plant and feel what the messages from that, or have an exchange from the spirits that are here embodied in animals and embodied in our world, in the jungle. There we go. There we go. I'm feeling that just landed. Beautiful. Open that light inside of your own heart and feel it clearly for you. And let's go ahead and just transition right into our transmission. So, as we call in divine truth and love into the sacred space, we invoke the highest possible healing for each and every viewer, replayer, and myself. We ask for the courage and compassion to speak and to hear from the purest form of self-love and forgiveness to all involved. Yawa yawa niawaya. Yawa puakai sayani yawa. So go ahead and activate that light inside of the center of your own heart. And as you activate that light in the center of your own heart, open yourself to the possibility of boundless love. Absolutely unconditional, boundless love. Opening your heart in the space of illuminated grace. And what I do recommend is that when you are here and able and open to be in a state of receptivity, and this is just simply with your own higher self, and go ahead and give yourself that opportunity to feel your own energy, to feel the lightness of your natural state. The all-encompassing field of your own consciousness. Now, your capacity to feel this is limited only by your egoic permission, meaning your egoic mind has the brakes and the acceleration to how much of your fullness you can experience and feel. Go ahead and take several nice, big, deep breaths. Feel into the consciousness of your own deep, magnifying love. Allowing the shifting, the movement, the freedom, the settling. The honoring with truth, power, intention, your own divinity. And feel into it. What was the theme of these last few days for you that have inspired you to connect in with aftercare and integration? Spaciousness within. Allowing yourself to really feel into the relief of the completion of cycles that are over, that have ended. Simply allow yourself to be with you for a moment. And allow yourself to breathe as you continue to feel your own higher self. Connect in full radiance of divine presence. To honor your full birthright. That you did not come here to struggle. You did not come here to starve. You came here as an embodied way shower, and it doesn't matter where you are on your path, because even those of us as way showers, we go through a full epic journey so that we can fully learn the embodiment of compassion, so that we can fully learn the embodiment of forgiveness, so that we can fully learn the embodiment of our fullness. And at every step that you take, it is incredibly important to take that step and stabilize. It may seem as you look out into the world that others are farther along than you, but it doesn't matter how far along anybody is. We're all at different ages, we're all at different stages, we all have different journeys and different ways that we are learning these lessons. What matters is the vibrational integrity that you're holding within yourself, that allows every single step that you take to be held in full and complete vibrational alignment with your soul's intention of incarnating. Also known as your purpose. Opening and allowing. Opening and allowing. Open, feel, allow. Open, feel, allow. Breathe in deeply as you tune into the sensations inside of your own body. Simply scan and notice, where is there any parts that are asking for more attention? Feeling into that release, the power, the beauty, the honoring, the holding. And meet any part there that is asking for more attention. And I invite you to be very thorough with this part of you that you are being there with. And allow. So gentle, so easy, so pure, so clear, so clean, so fluid, easy to release and let go. Maybe you also want to envision a scrubbing bubbles coming up, filling your entire body from your toes to your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees. Just watching those scrubbing bubbles move up through your thighs, your hips. Maybe these are golden scrubbing bubbles or rose gold scrubbing bubbles. And they pick up any toxins or debris, any ignored energy, forgotten about, subconscious patterns, even just dense weight, anything that you're carrying around that can be released and loved. Allow those scrubbing bubbles to move through your entire physical body, coming up through your torso, up through your neck, through your shoulders, filling your arms completely, coming out through your palms of your hands, filling in your aura now. Allowing the scrubbing bubbles to continue flowing up through your torso, through your neck, through the center of your own head, and then up and out through your crown. So opening your crown nice and wide. Allowing that crown space to fountain completely into your entire aura with all these scrubbing bubbles. These scrubbing bubbles having the full intention to release any debris, toxicity, openness or gaps, holes in your aura, allowing them to be sealed, loved, nurtured. And as your aura is filling with these scrubbing bubbles, go ahead and release that down from your root chakra all the way down to the center of Mama Gaia. Allowing yourself to fully be in a state of warm presence. Allowing yourself to fully be in a state of warm balance. Yawa ni awa ua poaka e waha apo ni awa. Yawa ni awa yawa oawa ni awa. Yawa poaka soto ni ke. Awa poa haaka ni kia. Asatake awa poaka. Asatani ki awa poaka. Asatani awa poaka. Iatani ki iawa haaka po. Suku a poaka ya ni awa. Suaku poa ni ki awa awa. Iawa poa ni ki iaka tatike. Awa poa ni awa haapo ni ki. Aiwa sakotake awa haaka poa. The message in this prayer is to be clear with what your body needs are, what your physical body needs are, what your energetic body needs are, and to be willing and able to meet your own needs. To make sure that your needs are fully met. Allowing yourself to fully come into present divine resonance, the center of your own heart chakra. Opening and closing that space so fully that there is not a single thing that passes through this filter of joy, complete and unconditional joy. That it is safe for you to stay in the silver lining. There is no need for you to come out. Stay in the presence of your energetic, physical, and mental well-being. That is contributing to the collective, anchoring and balancing. Give yourself a moment to clear out and clean out any brainwashing that has happened. And I can assure you, we have all been brainwashed. So allowing this brainwashing to take place, just go ahead and see those scrubbing bubbles. Clearing out the energy and frequencies of misinformation or thought patterns and beliefs that have brought you out of alignment with your soul truth. Allow your mind to be open, deeply connected, honored in full presence. And breathe. Eawa taniki kiawa ha'apoko ani kiawa. Itani kiawa. Iawa uapuku apuku ataniki kiawa. Iawa pua ha'atani. Iawa pua sa'akatani. Iawa ha'apuani ia. Ayawa uapua atani ia. Ayawa uani iawa. Ikiawa tani iawa ha'apu sakaya ha'atani iawa. Yawa uapu koa. Breathing deep, breathing deep, breathing deep. Allowing what's coming to you as rewards and blessings for making space to flow easily into your field. And allowing that openness to continue to bloom, to continue to blossom, to continue to expand, to continue to open to your own sense of freedom. Remembering making the absolute most out of this time that we are sharing together. And let go. Remember, your higher self is the healer. All of these guides or key codes or things that we can tune into and channel in all of this, your higher self already has access to all of this information. There's nothing in this known universe that your higher self cannot access and tune into and tap into. Your higher self is your direct connection to source. In that space, there is nothing that is withheld from you. Truly, the only limit on this is the capacity of your egoic human mind and the capacity of your own egoic human mind to choose to believe in what already exists or to not believe in what's already there. So you get to have your foot on the gas. And I'm telling you, through my own 10 years of experience through this, I'll say the difference between a good psychic and a bad psychic is one that has been able to focus and pay attention to themselves and do their own work. And by psychic, I'm referring to somebody that's capable of reading energy and tuning into the field of the multiverse, meaning accessing higher levels of consciousness. I do believe that some of us are born with a greater predisposition to be able to access these fields, 100%. And I also believe that in this space, in this lifetime, as energetic beings in human form, we all have the capacity to learn how to open those channels for ourselves as well. So go ahead and take a couple of nice big breaths. Just feel what you feel what you notice. Tune into your own grand state of awareness. Your own state of beingness. Freedom in your own skin. freedom as a contributing human in this world. Freedom to fully experience your human life in the way that you want to. Because I can promise you that your accelerated joy, the openness of your heart, it is a magnet for miracles. And when we peel away these ideas of what we think we're supposed to do and be to become participating members of society or whatever it is that's there, we want to make sure that we do so by honoring ourselves first and our reason for being, why we are here. So there you go. Take a couple of moments to just breathe. Go ahead and ask yourself, is there anything that you need in this moment? Breathe in again to your light. Breathe in again to your heart. Breathe in again to the power and the prowess of your divine beauty. And again, just feel what you feel and allow any incoming messages from your higher self to come through into you now. If you have a journal nearby, feel free to tune in and start writing. And breathe in again, powerfully so, to the center of your own aligned heart. And breathe. We'll go ahead and come out of this very slowly, 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 slowly. Let's go ahead just for fun, tune in, check in, see on a scale of 1 to 10, how open and willing are you to be able to receive the energy of source love, of source consciousness. That space that is there for you. Can you feel it? Do you feel more full of yourself now than you did before? And I say that, do you feel more full of your vibrational signature, your signature wavelength. It's just like our thumbprint. We all have one that is absolutely unique to us. Allowing that beauty to open and flow freely. And just take a moment to stay in this space. How often are you in this energy field? How often are you fully encompassed and encapsulated by your own frequency? How often? Again, just open up. Open up, open up, open up, and just simply feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. Breathe deeply into the power of your own intention. To honor the gift of your own prosperity, your own joy, your own capacity to give and receive love. To honor the truth within. Allowing your breath to be a little bit deeper than it was before. As you feel. Notice what you notice. Open, surrender. Yawapuakaya ha'aniki. I'm feeling it. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, my sweet loves. We'll go ahead and take a few more moments. I'd love to hear from you, those of you that are here on the live chat. What are some of the sensations you're feeling? Did you have any ahas or realizations? Anything that you want to bring into the space? Any messages from your higher self that you feel compelled to share? The floor is yours. You are open and welcome to share in whatever way that you feel called, in whatever way that feels right and nourishing to you. And if you would like to simply sit and stay in the center of your own heart space, you are absolutely welcome to do that as well. So when it comes to channeling, I'm feeling a little question pop in. When it comes to channeling, I have participated in workshops that I felt were not good, in the sense that there wasn't a teaching of discernment first. So if you're new and this is something that you want to learn to do, it is rather easy. And as a person who teaches this to other people, what you want, there are a couple things that need to happen first. You need to have a clear foundation and basis of understanding going on inside of your own heart, that you know your signature frequency, meaning you know if there is another energy in your field. This is absolutely of the single most utmost important. Thank you for sharing the love. This is the absolute utmost single important thing that you can do when you start channeling. So one of my gifts is I am a trance medium channel, which means it's very easy for me, my spirit, my consciousness to leave my body and to allow another being to come in. It's called trance medium channeling. It's what Abraham does through Esther, Brashar, and sometimes it can be really beneficial and sometimes it cannot. So this is why you want to practice discernment, and you want to build any type of relationship with the beings that you might be channeling or that you might be opening yourself to before you do that, which is why you want to do this with somebody who is experienced, especially if opening your field of consciousness into, let's say, the fifth dimension or above is new to you. It's similar to meeting somebody for the first time and having a good friend or a person that you trust give you a recommendation to work with that person or to be friends with that person or to date that person, whatever it is. That is really, really important. You do not want to go around opening yourself up, especially in Bali, like some of these sacred sites and temple sites. There are spirits all over the place. And I'm guilty of doing this in Morocco. I was in Morocco in a school that was built in the 1200s, and I felt so much spirit activity. Like I was bombarded, and I got a little bit overzealous and a little bit cocky because I can do that sometimes. Lesson learned, okay? This is why I'm teaching you, because I learned these lessons the hard way. I was in Morocco. I was in this super old school. I felt spirits wanting to talk to me, so I decided to open myself up and talk to some of them. There was nothing there for me other than maybe sharing this story with you. Like, it was not cool. It was like all of a sudden having your DMs just bombarded with a bunch of spam. That's what it was like. And then what happened was I ended up bringing them back home to America with me. They were all Klingons. And then I had to have my own clearing of all of these beings that I opened myself up to. And they weren't harmful, but they were parasitic. They were feeding off of my energy and hosting on me to bring them out of the space that they were probably trapped in, to be honest. But at that stage, I had the understanding, and then I knew better, but I didn't act better. All right, takes one to know one. That's why I'm sharing these lessons with you, my loves. Removing entities from people's bodies as like full-blown possession or addiction entities. These are things that I have done, and these are also things that I have done with and for myself. You can check my video, Drunk Spirituality and Alcohol and Spiritual Growth. These are two videos that I talk to specifically about substance use and how that opens ourself and our space. So for me as a trance medium channel, drinking is horribly detrimental to my own energy field because of what it opens me up to when I am not present. So the more presence you can bring into your awareness, the more clear, confident connection you can have to understanding your vibrational frequency, what it is that you are offering and bringing forth into yourself is of the utmost importance, because that's when you can start to welcome conversations with these higher vibrational beings to come in and communicate with you and to you without jeopardizing your sovereignty, which is what we really want to make sure is happening, is that you as the individual being, the individual consciousness that agreed to come into this human experience is the only being and the only consciousness that is in your physical form. Beautiful. I like to just kind of talk a little bit after these transmissions to make sure that we're all coming out off the spaceship together. So I'm hoping this information is helpful to you. I do want to let you know that if you want to go in and dive deeper with us, I highly, highly, highly recommend starting with the 7 weeks to embody your higher self. This is a program that is specifically designed to actually tune you into your soul frequency. It also will help break down generational patterns. Any sort of trauma that your ancestors experienced that was not worked through, that was not released, that was not acknowledged, that was not healed, that was not nurtured, gets passed down through the genetic encoding into your physical body. So part of this ascension period that we are in and on will open your awareness to these particular things that actually help to embody the wisdom of the ancestors as well. Our ancestors have a lot of wisdom, and our ancestors have a lot of trauma. And so to be able to neutralize that within yourself, to integrate, actually activates an even deeper sense of your like vibrational connection, maturity, astuteness, power, presence, understanding, knowledge, like all of these things. So the 7 weeks to embody your higher self course really goes deep. It's only 8 hours of content, but when you go in, you'll listen to one recording and then listen to that as many times as you need until you have actually received the entire transmission. Then you do the same with the next one. And so as it builds on itself, it will open you into that greater state of awareness. Once you have worked through that course, you're then invited to join us in the Metaphysical Club, which is our advanced level psychic development training. It's our group program. We go in much deeper. I do live readings with our soul family that's in there. It really is a little golden pocket of the universe that is not to be missed. So if you are feeling the call, if you're feeling ready, if you want to dive in more deeply, you want to know that you're in a safe container, you know that, or that you feel good in my presence, that you want to learn from me, this is what I came here to do. So I'm more than happy to open those gates for you, but the prerequisite and best place to start is the 7 weeks to embody your higher self. So my sweet friends, you can also come back and listen to this meditation as many times as you like, any of the Transformational Tuesdays, the new moon and full moon transmissions. There's all sorts of stuff here. And the best way that you can support me, of course, is we're growing this movement and are calling in all resources and all support and all help, all hands on deck to really get it off the ground, because there's so much noise and so many challenges and beautiful obstacles to just rise right through. You can like, you can share, you can comment, you can donate. There's a link in the description below that will show you where you can do that, as well as the link to the 7 weeks to embody your higher self. So any way that you feel that you can reciprocate the support, it is graciously and generously appreciated in so many more ways than you know. And the last seed that I'm going to plant is that right now I'm calling in 3 people to work with one-to-one for a 6-month term. I haven't done this in a few years. I've been doing 3-month terms only, and I only work with 3 people at a time because of the depth of this work, the depth that we go to together. It is so rewarding. It's so beautiful. It is high ticket. It does include the Metaphysical Club training as well. So you get access to the group and all sorts of other things, which we can go into discussion. But feel free to send me a message on either Facebook or Instagram. I will get them and I will tune in. And if it's a right fit, we'll be able to have that conversation and interview. So if you are feeling that call, or you know of someone comes to mind, please do feel free to make that connection. And with that, my loves, let's go ahead and take a nice big deep breath together. As we go forth, may we integrate the healing and the lessons received with courage, self-love, and compassion. Our session here is very much complete. All right, my sweet loves, I want to thank you again for taking the time to heal yourself, for giving yourself the spaciousness of aftercare and integration, and for being a responsible healer for you. It is so, so, so important. I see you, I commend you, I honor you. I absolutely adore you. Oh, Kat here is saying the Monad Society Metaphysical Club is my lifeline. The support, the guidance, and the community is transformative. Oh, it's so good. It is a golden pocket. It's my favorite. It is absolutely my favorite. So the family members that we have coming into that, we've just actually brought in 2 new members this month. They're still working through the 7 weeks to embody your higher self course. So if that's you, come in, come join us. All right, my loves, I hope you have an absolutely blessed day. And I do look forward to chatting with you again so soon. Mwah, 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 mwah. Ciao, ciao.